This is Carly Madison Gregg, a 15-year-old Mississippi girl convicted of first-degree murder of her mother and the attempted murder of her stepfather. On March 19, 2024, Carly returned home from school with her mother, Ashley Smiley, a math teacher at Northwest Rankin High School. Surveillance footage captures Carly pacing the kitchen with a .357 Magnum gun concealed behind her back. Moments later, she entered her mother's bedroom and did the unthinkable. She fired 3 shots in Ashley's face. After the shooting, Carly uses her mother's phone to send a text message to her stepfather, Heath Smiley, saying,
"Are you almost home, honey?"
intending to lure him back to the house. Upon his arrival, Carly shoots him in the shoulder, but despite his injury, Heath manages to wrestle the gun away from her and calls 911.
What's the location of your emergency? Your daughter tried to shoot you? Where is she at? How old is she? 14?
Eventually, Carly's restrained and taken into custody. During the trial, prosecutors presented disturbing evidence, including surveillance footage and testimonies.
And what was the reason for Mr. Smiley calling 911?
He called because he had been shot. At first he said he had grazed the neck. Once during the middle of the call, he then stated that his wife was also shot dead on the floor, and I continued to talk to him until deputies arrived on scene.
Your daughter tried to shoot you? Where is she at? How old is she? 14. Where is your wife? She's dead on the floor of my stepdaughter's room. She's on the floor in your stepdaughter's room? What's your wife's name? Ashley Smiley.
Heath Smiley recounted the events in his testimony.
Everything seemed pretty normal, and I came on in, and when I opened the door to the kitchen there, gun went off in my face before the door was, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches wide open, and everything kind of went pretty fast from there. It was a blur. Just gun flash in my face, and then it went off 2 more times, but my hand was on the gun after the first shot.
Carly's defense team argued for an insanity plea, citing her history of depression, self-harm, and auditory hallucinations.
We believe the evidence will show that there were 3 victims on March 19th. Ashley Smiley, Heath Smiley, and Carly Smiley, and Carly Gregg. That they were all 3 victims. While the events on March 19th were tragic, the events on March 19th were not intentional.
Psychiatrist Dr. Andrew Clark had something to say about her mental health struggles in his testimony.
This is the hypothesis that best fits the information that I have. And I think Carly has a much more severe psychiatric illness than anybody realized, and that she was able to acknowledge, or even that she's able to acknowledge today. And that combined with her history of dissociation sort of created this terrible situation.
However, the prosecution brings out their own expert witness to rebuff Carly's defense. Olivia Leiber, a psychiatric nurse practitioner, examined Carly and had this to say.
At any point during that evaluation with Ms. Gregg, did she report that she was hearing voices?
No.
In fact, I think the very last line you said, again, she denies SI, suicidal ideations, that she denied homicidal ideations. Is that right?
Right.
And that she denied AVH,
Auditory visual hallucinations.
The jury finds Carly guilty on all counts and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Appear to be in proper form. Verdict of the jury is count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. Count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of attempted murder as charged in the indictment. Count 3. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in the indictment. Please be seated, Mr. Gregg.
Although Carly's defense team appealed the verdict and pushed for a retrial, the judge denied the motion. Carly Gregg shot at her parents in a moment of rage. But what happens when a criminal specifically targets someone who can't fight back? This is Gavin Ramsay, a 17-year-old high school student on trial for aggravated murder and abuse of a corpse in Wadsworth, Ohio. On the 6th of April 2018, Gavin entered the home of 98-year-old Margaret Douglas through an unlocked door while she slept. He strangles the poor elderly woman in her own bed and then hides her body in a closet under clothes and a vacuum cleaner. 3 days later, Margaret's nephew reports her missing, and police make a horrifying discovery. But what makes this case truly chilling wasn't just the brutality of the crime, it was what investigators found next. When police searched Ramsay's home, they discovered Margaret's stolen wallet, but the real bombshell came when they examined his cell phone.
I want to talk a little bit about what's on the phone. All the phone contained images of Margaret before and after her death, as well as videos of your son with her. Engaging acts with her. Was she still alive when he was doing that? No, I don't think. Oh my God.
On Margaret's stolen phone, they find videos he had recorded of the crime itself, along with photos of Margaret sleeping before he killed and performed sexual acts on her corpse. Armed with this evidence, the police interrogated Gavin.
I asked, did you get put in a bad situation? Did somebody put you in a bad situation? No. No?
Yeah, let's look at it this way. Honesty is always what's best.
I'm not holding anything bad, like...
You've already gotten yourself in trouble, so...
I know, and I don't know what to say.
Gavin admits to committing the crimes, claiming he was ignorant of his actions.
By the time I even realized what I was doing, it was too late to stop anything.
So when she died, was she on the couch or on the floor?
Floor.
But the most disturbing of all was Ramsay's journal, filled with detailed fantasies about strangulation, showing that this wasn't a crime of opportunity, but premeditated murder, planned out in writing. On one page he wrote,
I just want to fucking go off on someone and beat them until they're not breathing anymore. I honestly want to take someone's life. I want to know what it feels like to stand over someone's dead body.
In November 2018, Ramsay pleaded no contest to charges including aggravated murder, kidnapping, aggravated burglary, and gross abuse of a corpse.
My client is prepared to enter pleas of no contest to all counts in the indictment this morning. There have been no agreements reached with respect to sentence, and we will be asking for a mitigation hearing and a sentencing hearing to be set at a later date and time.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ramsay? what plea you entered today to count 2 of the indictment, aggravated murder in violation of RC 2903.01B.
The impact on Margaret's family was devastating. Her great niece had this to say about Gavin.
He broke into her house, watched her sleeping, and took videos of her sleeping. He then held her against her will, hit her, and strangled her. And I believe that he planned to kill numerous people and used my aunt as a warm-up, so to speak, for those other killings.
On the other hand, Gavin's mother attributed his behavior to adverse reactions from prescribed medication, claiming he started acting strangely after being given Zoloft.
You can't make me believe that my decision wasn't the ultimate cause of all of this. To simply say I'm sorry to a victim's family, that's not enough. You can't undo their heartache. You can't undo our heartache.
On January 3rd, 2019, the judge sentences Ramsay to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, plus additional consecutive terms for his other crimes. Gavin Ramsay targeted a sleeping 98-year-old woman. But how does this one compare to a convict attacking a mother and her 11-year-old daughter in their own home? Like in the case of Christopher Gribble, on trial for first-degree murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy in New Hampshire. On October 4th, 2009, the 19-year-old former Boy Scout joins 3 other teens in a brutal home invasion that shatters the quiet town of Mount Vernon forever. Gribble, armed with a knife along with 17-year-old Stephen Spader wielding a machete, broke into the Cates family home on Trow Road. In a horrific attack, they murdered 42-year-old nurse Kimberly Cates and severely wounded her 11-year-old daughter Jamie, who survived only by pretending she was dead.
Where were the victims when they were attacked inside their home?
They were in their bedroom.
Who did you see go into the bedroom before they were attacked?
Chris Gribble and Stephen Spader.
Were Mr. Gribble and Mr. Spader armed when they went into that bedroom?
Yes, they were, sir.
What weapon did the defendant, Mr. Spader, have when he went into that bedroom?
A machete.
And when we're referring to Mr. Spader, do you see him here in the courtroom?
I do, sir.
Please point him out and identify an article of clothing that he's wearing.
To the right of the table, in the blue suit.
This man right here?
Yes, sir.
And the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
And you saw this man go into that bedroom with what?
A machete, sir.
You also saw Mr. Gribble go into the bedroom?
I did, sir.
Was Mr. Gribble armed?
Yes, he was.
How was Mr. Gribble armed?
He had a knife, sir.
After you saw the defendant and Mr. Gribble go into that bedroom, did you hear any noises?
Yes, sir, I did.
What noises did you hear coming from that bedroom?
One of the first police officers who got to the scene had this to say.
How this happened, and she said that there was a guy in the house. She said that there was guys in the house, and one of them had a knife, and the other one had a bat, and he hit my mom.
2 days later, Gribble confesses to police in chilling detail. But what he said next revealed the true depths of his depravity.
I opened the master bedroom door quietly. He looked in, and he said that there are people, but we thought he said there's no people. So he started to get a little bit relaxed and started talking. He started to quiet us down. And then he shined the light on the bed, and that's when they woke up.
Okay.
The mother said something like, "Jamie, is that you?" Stevie threw the light. He went around to one side of the bed where the girl apparently was sleeping. I started to circle around to the other side in case something happened. And Billy and Quinn stayed by the door. Quinn, I think, it was either Quinn or Billy, said later that they closed the door just in case. The mom sat up in the bed, started asking who was there, what was going on, tried to turn on the lamp and it didn't turn on.
Yeah.
And when she did that, Steve started hacking at the bed with the machete.
Okay.
They started screaming because they heard something. Apparently he missed them mostly. But I heard him hit the mom. And so I dove in and stabbed her a few times in the chest. Probably 2 or 3. Pretty sure it was 3. She started gurgling. Steve was just hacking away. He totally lost it.
Gribble described the brutal attack as very precise and criticized his co-defendant for being haphazard in his violence.
The girl jumped up I almost sensed her in the dark get up and jumped over her mother as Steve was hacking away, and she jumped right into my arms. I stabbed her once towards the face. I hit bone. I felt the knife skip off and didn't go in. Then I went for the front. I stabbed her somewhere around the front right chest area. I tried to twist her around so I could get a better shot at her heart. It was automatic. I didn't even think about it. I automatically did it.
Yeah.
I stabbed her a couple times in the back as I was swinging her around, and she got free of my hand and went flying into the glass door, knocked her head, stopped crying completely.
Okay.
I figured she was probably toast.
Yeah.
The mom was still gurgling and kind of breathing deeply. Steve just went at her. I was actually kind of scared of him. He just kept hacking at the bed, came over to our side and hacked at it some more.
Yeah.
Gribble's charged with multiple felonies, and his defense team enters a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. They claimed he suffered from antisocial personality disorder and couldn't distinguish right from wrong. But throughout the trial, Gribble showed no remorse whatsoever. Instead of grief or guilt, he displayed an unsettling detachment.
And a female voice said something like, "Jamie, is that you?" At that point, I don't remember thinking anything for a little while. It got really weird, and I'm gonna have a little trouble describing it because I've never felt that way before. But Steve immediately tossed the iPod and went down on the floor, and headed for the right-hand side of the bed. The next thing I knew, I was walking towards the other side of the bed. I don't remember thinking I should go over to the other side. It was just like I knew without having to consider what I should do.
The psychological evaluations painted a disturbing picture. Psychologists had identified emerging antisocial traits in Gribble 2 years before the murder, after he expressed homicidal thoughts toward his own parents.
For the test findings that you found and your clinical observations, what treatment would be recommended?
Long-term psychotherapy, especially when I found out that he had expressed homicidal ideation to Dr. Tallarico.
Tell me about that, how you found out that he had homicidal ideation.
Well, after I finished the evaluation, she invited me in she was very concerned. He expressed significant homicidal ideation, which I was not aware of, and that raised my concern about his dangerousness.
Just to explain for the jury what homicidal ideation is.
Well, he had thoughts of killing people.
Chris is seeing Dr. Tallarico. She called us and said she wanted to meet briefly with both of us. We came in and she said, I need to talk with you about a number of issues that have come up during counseling. She said that there had been an issue of what she called inappropriate touching with somebody at church. And I said, what does that mean? She said somebody touched him inappropriately. I said, did someone molest my child? And she said, no, it was just inappropriate touching. Somebody put their arm around him. I said, okay. And she said, and also you need to know he's made death threats against both of you.
During the sentencing phase, Jamie's father, David Coates, delivered a heart-wrenching victim impact statement.
Your Honor, there is no justice in a case like this, not really. There is only the promise that you made to the rest of us that this worthless coward will never be free to kill another woman as she sleeps vulnerably in her bed, or to brutally attack another innocent child. My wife and my daughter, each weighing less than 100 pounds at the time of this savage attack, were defenseless against the bloody onslaught of these gutless murderers.
Gribble was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I'm not going to go into the bottomless aggravating factors that exist in this case, but I believe the record will thoroughly support my belief that infinity is not enough jail time for you. Accordingly, you are sentenced on the remaining convictions to the maximum penalty allowed by law to be served consecutively.
This case was so shocking that it prompted New Hampshire to expand the death penalty to include murders committed during home invasions. Gribble committed murder as part of a twisted teen fantasy. But now what does it look like when a killer is entirely self-motivated and proud of it? This is Brian Cohee on trial for first-degree murder, tampering with a deceased human body, and tampering with evidence in Grand Junction, Colorado. On February 27, 2021, the 19-year-old brutally stabbed 69-year-old Warren Barnes 30 to 40 times while he slept under a highway overpass. Barnes, known as the Reading Man for reading outside downtown businesses, was beloved in the community despite experiencing homelessness. After that savage attack, Cohee decapitated and dismembered Barnes' body, placing the severed head and hands in plastic bags.
It's right here.
Oh, you see it?
Yeah. Because there's an arm. There's an arm, there's another arm.
Okay, hold on. Do some pictures.
Right, here's a leg.
Brian took a few pictures of the corpse, but immediately deleted them, recognizing the potential incriminating evidence they represented if he were to be caught.
And then I took the head, put it in a leftover pizza box from dinner a few nights ago. And then I took the hands.
And then he tried disposing of the remnant corpse in the river.
I drove back in a different outfit, picked up his body, put it in my trunk, and drove to the Blue Heron drop-off station. The ramp is quite steep, and you need to have four-wheel drive to pull out of it. Okay. And my car didn't. And I opened the trunk, I take his body out, I put it in the water, and because I don't want fingerprints on a body, so I just try moving it with my shoes. That works successfully. He goes out some part in the river and floats off. Okay. God knows where he is now.
For months, Cohee had been planning this horrific act. His search history revealed twisted intentions. How do people react when held at knife point? And how deadly is a neck stab wound? He specifically targeted homeless individuals, believing they wouldn't be missed. After failing to dispose of body parts in the Colorado River, Cohee brought the severed head and hands home and hid them in his bedroom closet like some sick trophy. On March 1st, 2021, Brian's mother, Terry Cohee, opens his closet and finds Warren Barnes' remains in plastic bags. She immediately called 911, and when police arrived, Cohee confessed without hesitation.
So, parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
Do you have anything on you? He's going to cut, poke, hurt, stick me anything without reaching for nothing? Don't reach for nothing.
My phone and my wallet, that's
okay.
it.
Well, I'm going to have you face that way. Put your hands on top of your head for me real quick. I just want to make sure you interlace your fingers for me real quick, all right?
A human head and hands.
With great pride, Cohee sickly remarks at the human parts he kept in his room. During confession, Cohee went on to show zero remorse. Instead, he got excited when talking to investigators about the murder.
And how did you get here?
I murdered someone.
Okay.
What do you want to know?
So start back at the beginning and go slow and tell me as many details as you can remember.
So, Murray going to jail for the 15 years probably?
I have no idea.
Because
we're at the beginning.
It's murder. I mean, I'm going to jail for 20 here on the railway track. So I'm like, oh, interesting. So I go up, and as I'm looking, I see a large thing wrapped in a canvas.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's a homeless person.
Without hesitation, Brian donned his gloves, retrieved his 12-inch kitchen knife from the glove box, and pulled back the canvas, proceeding to stab Warren Barnes in the neck.
He was saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Ah! And I said, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, murder someone. The whole ordeal lasted about a minute and a half. Is it okay if I do a demonstration?
Oh, yeah.
This is him. I was straddled on top of him like this.
Okay.
And he couldn't fight back. It was actually surprisingly easy. I was barely breaking the sweat. I thought, oh, this guy, he's going to be tough. But no, it was actually surprisingly easy. And during the time I was growling and making animalistic noises.
At one point, he compared himself to serial killer Edmund Kemper, saying something in the line of,
I always wanted to know what murder felt like.
I take a glance at him, because it really is like Ed Kemper, where half of me says, well, I'm quite inept with women. I'm being honest, I'm no Casanova. But half of me says, I want to take that girl home and make her feel nice. And the other half of me, it's just like what Ed said, is I want to see what her head looks like on a stick.
Brian's charged with first-degree murder, and he pleads not guilty to that. His defense claimed insanity, citing autism, ADHD, and depression diagnoses.
He's 5. We were told he had ADHD. So we put him on ADHD medicine. I think it's again during the summer or weekends when he went to middle school. He started exhibiting antisocial behavior, just saying things to get kids riled up and thinking it was funny. And then when we switched to Fruita High School, he did okay in 9th grade, 10th grade. He got in a lot of trouble, a lot of behavior issues. 11th grade, we had a big meeting and they said, the kid's no good. So we put him in R5. We took him and did some testing for ADHD and whatnot through Division of Rehab. And the doctor had said, yes, he's ADHD. Yes, he's autistic. Yes, he's this. Oh, and there's some indications that he should get further testing because of potential psychosis. And I asked about referrals and called, and nobody in town to see him. Okay, well, he seems to be doing good. You know, he graduated high school. He works at Safeway, and he's been working there for a year in August. And he's there part-time. And you said he's not taking his medication, or is he on medications now? He's on ADHD medicine. Okay. That he takes before work on his part-time job.
But forensic psychologist Dr. Laura Serrano Americo concluded Cohee showed no signs of psychosis and fully understood his actions. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence: search history, targeted victim selection, and cover-up attempts. Brian Cohee was eventually found guilty on all charges. The judge gives him life imprisonment without parole, plus 13.5 years for evidence tampering. Warren Barnes may have been homeless, but he wasn't forgotten. The Grand Junction community erected a memorial sculpture, a chair with books, symbolizing his love for reading. Brian Cohee's savage attack left Warren Barnes dead and dismembered. How does that one compare to an assault so brutal it was captured on camera for the world to see? Like in the case of Brendan Depa, a 17-year-old charged as an adult for the brutal assault on a school teacher's aide in Flagler County, Florida. On February 21st, 2023, Depa violently attacked 57-year-old Joe Nadich at Matanzas High School. The reason? Reports initially claimed Nadich confiscated Depa's Nintendo Switch during class, but according to Nadich herself, that wasn't true. What followed was nothing short of horrifying. Surveillance cameras captured Depa, who was a 6-foot plus 270-pound teenager, shoving Nadich to the ground, rendering her unconscious, then repeatedly kicking and punching her defenseless body. Downright insanity. Nadich sustained devastating injuries, including multiple fractures, a severe concussion, and permanent hearing loss. She testified,
"Everything was taken away from me. My life will never be what it was before."
Depa was arrested later that day.
Okay, can you put your computer down for a second? Please? Brennan, please? Thank you. Stand up for me. Put your hands behind your back. Turn around, turn the other way. Stay right there. Got it? Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna take your watch off. You'll get it back. That way it doesn't pinch you. Brennan, your watch is going in your pocket, okay? Watch is in your pocket.
Am I going to jail?
Yes, you are.
For how long?
I do not know. I don't make that determination.
I'm a double lock.
Deputy King's locking them, so when you sit down, they don't tighten up, okay?
Now, what makes this case complex is Depa's background. Diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and ADHD, he had 3 prior battery charges and multiple psychiatric commitments.
Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about autism? When was he diagnosed?
Well, some of the medications they wanted to put him on from the age of 4 was for autism, and the ones that I didn't want. And I remember at that time the psychiatrist saying something about autism, and I didn't want her to put that in the notes for the insurance company and everything. That at that time I still felt like autism was such a harmful diagnosis for following along with you throughout life.
His mother also claimed the school is culpable for Depa's actions as they failed to implement his behavioral plan, which warned against taking away electronics, a known trigger for his violent outbursts.
There were a couple of behavioral analysts in there. There was a school counselor, school psychologist, his psychologist. Based on how the event occurred, what was reported to the group, these were all targeted behaviors, and it was obvious his behavioral plan had not been followed.
But here's the twist. Nadich later disputed reports, stating,
I never took the Nintendo Switch from him.
And I know you want to clarify, you did not take his game away.
No, there was no device taken away. Not at all. It was the teacher that was threatening to not have it being utilized at the school. I had nothing to do with it.
This contradiction raised questions about what actually triggered this savage attack. But during court proceedings, Depa showed zero remorse, with Judge Thomas Walsh expressing his feelings about Depa's attitude in court.
Saw no concern for Ms. Nadich's injuries, and Mr. Depa has never expressed not even a single bit of remorse before this court in any of our many court proceedings.
Expert witnesses were divided. Some argued for juvenile sanctions, while others testified he posed an ongoing danger.
He is disabled. He can't navigate the world like you and I can.
On August 7th, 2024, Judge Walsh sentenced Depa to 5 years in prison, followed by 15 years of probation.
The court sentences Mr. Depa to 60 months of Department of Corrections, followed by 15 years Department of Corrections supervised probation.
Nadich supported the sentence by the judge, and she had this to say.
Does this make you feel a little bit more safer, if you will?
Somewhat, yes. I just want to make sure this just doesn't ever happen to anybody else ever again.
On the other hand, Depa's mom pled for mercy.
I beg you to let him come home with me. I want my son back.
Brendan Depa brutally attacked a teacher's aide who was there to help him. But how does that compare to violence within your own family? This is Alexander Jackson, who murdered his entire family in cold blood at their home in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. On the morning of June 15th, 2021, police arrive at the Jackson home after Alexander himself called 911.
Okay, what's going on?
Someone broke in.
Okay.
I've been shot.
You've been shot?
My dad's been shot.
Okay, hold on just a second. Are they still there?
No, they left.
They left. Did they come inside the house?
Yeah.
Okay, where were you shot at?
Downstairs.
No, on your body. On your body, where have you been shot?
Foot.
I'm sorry, where?
Left foot.
In your
Left
foot?
foot.
Okay, how old are you?
20?
How old are you?
20.
20. Okay. I've got help coming. Just stay on the line with me, okay? Do you know who it was that broke in?
What was that?
Do you know who broke in?
No.
Okay. Did you get a look at them?
No.
Could you tell if it was a man or a woman?
Man.
Inside, officers discover a gruesome and tragic scene. 3 bodies are found. That of Alexander's father, Jan, age 61, his mother, Melissa, age 68, and his sister, Sabrina Jackson, just 19 years old. Each of them had been shot with a .22 caliber rifle. That rifle was owned by Jan and had been stored in the home.
This all needs to be cleared out, though. We got a door here. Who's this down here?
Hey, who are you?
Dad. Is that your dad?
What happened?
What happened? He came down. There was a man. Who shot your
Who else is here?
My sister. She's back? Yeah, she's in her room. Is she okay? I think so. What's her name? Sabrina? Sabrina? Is that a room right there?
Yeah.
Sabrina!
You already got this behind us? I got that.
Sabrina! Hey! Zero, please!
Hey, oh shit. Sorry.
Victim, third victim. You wait. Third victim?
Yeah.
115, we have 3 victims.
We're gonna get these 3 in.
But the story Alexander told the police of a masked stranger who broke in, fought him, and shot his family, it quickly fell apart.
I heard him downstairs, so I went downstairs. He was messing with my dad's gun. What kind of gun? 22. Right? Yeah.
Do you have a mask on?
Oh yeah, one of those ski masks or whatever.
A ski mask? Did you see his hair?
No.
How about his shoes?
I think they're green. I can't tell you the shoe. I'm not a shoe guy.
Yeah, that's okay.
His teeth.
The chubby?
Probably green. Chubby.
So he went downstairs, he was messing with your dad's gun. And then what happened?
Well, he's messing with her. And killed my dad, I think.
There were no signs of forced entry, no missing valuables, and no masked intruder on surveillance.
I don't see any bookkeepers.
There was only Alexander and a carefully staged lie.
Based on your training and experience, Investigator Bosenberg, did you form an opinion as to whether or not there were any signs of forced entry to this back door?
I did not see any of those signs on this door.
The back door was not the only point of entry or exit from this home, correct?
Correct.
During your investigation, did you happen to observe the other doors to the residence?
Yes.
Did you, on any of the entrance/exit doors to the residence, observe any signs of forced entry?
No.
Alex, the reality is there's not any evidence that anyone else was over at your house. It's okay. It's okay. There was a man there. Alex, do you want to tell us what happened? What really happened?
We're not here to judge you at all. Like I said, I mean...
I went downstairs. And the man was there. I fought him. I got shot. I think he left.
Alex, that's not what the evidence is showing.
What do you mean?
said, if there had been a person there would be some evidence that he showed up. There would also be evidence that he left, because he's not there now, and there is no evidence of that. No one else was there.
Well, he was there.
Like Sarah said, we're not here to judge you. Something happened in your house. We're just trying to figure out why.
Investigators noticed his injuries weren't real, which was consistent with self-infliction, not struggle. There were also no other fingerprints on the rifle but his own.
If the intruder was holding the gun, where would you have expected to find Mr. Jackson's fingerprints?
Not on the buttstock end, on the barrel end is where I would expect to find those.
Can you remind us how you described the quality of those prints?
The quality was very good on those. There was lots of detail present.
Would you expect the quality of a print to be that good if a struggle was ensuing over this firearm?
And then came the most damning evidence. Jackson's own words.
Ran into him?
You ran into who?
The man.
Okay. You ran into him how?
You already hit him. And with like a fist or?
Okay.
Fist church. Yeah, my foot.
He fumbled and contradicted himself. He claimed he wrestled with the intruder. Then he said he woke up to gunshots.
You hadn't been up prior to this happening. You woke up to this.
Yeah.
Okay. No breakfast or anything yet? Okay. And, but the only person that you've seen today is that guy and then your dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex was arrested, but in court he pled not guilty to 3 counts of first-degree murder, and his defense was that someone else committed the killings, and he was a victim too.
Alexander Jackson, I want you to think that he had the perfect family life. That his mother, Melissa, his father, Jan, his sister, Sabrina, they all got along great. They had family dinners. They played board games. It was perfect. On the Eagle Scout badge, there are 2 stars. Those stars stand for truth and knowledge. The evidence is going to show you what the truth is about this family dynamic. It's not what Mr. Jackson claimed it to be.
Despite the evidence stacked against him, Alexander maintained his innocence.
As it is Mr. Jackson's position that he didn't commit these crimes, I'm not going to argue with the prosecution about the nature and circumstances of the way these crimes were committed. Mr. Jackson to this day maintains his innocence. And again, that'll be something that'll be brought up on appeal.
The courtroom was packed. Friends of Sabrina wept quietly in the gallery, but Alex sat emotionless with no remorse. He never testified in his own defense, never explained why, but the evidence did.
And is it your decision then to not testify in this proceeding?
It is my decision not to testify.
All right. And do you believe that you've had, do you believe you have all the information you need from your lawyers to make an informed decision about whether or not to testify?
Yes.
And after a week-long trial, the jury delivered the verdict.
On as to each of the 3 counts, form of verdict 2 has been executed. We, the jury, find the defendant, Alexander Jackson, guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree.
Alexander was found guilty on all 3 counts, and during his sentencing, none of Jackson's extended family showed up to give a victim impact statement.
Ms. Slaughter, are there any victim impact statements to be made in this case?
Just to be clear, Your Honor, the state did re-verify with the family members who are present, and there was no one present who wanted or wished to give an impact statement for the court.
The judge sentenced Alexander Jackson to 3 consecutive life sentences, and now he'll live out the rest of his days behind bars.
All right. Then at this time, Mr. Jackson is adjudicated to be guilty of 3 counts of murder in the first degree, contrary to Iowa Code Section 701.7, and 707.2, Parent 1, Parent A, and judgment is entered accordingly. In each count, he is sentenced to be confined for the remainder of his life with no possibility of parole. His custody is placed with the Director of the Division of Adult Corrections, and his temporary custody with the Sheriff. The sentences shall be served consecutively with each other.
Alexander Jackson murdered his entire family and tried to cover it up with lies. But what happens when a killer immediately calls the police on himself? Like in the case of Jamarian Lawhorn, the 12-year-old boy who shocked the nation when he murdered another 9-year-old boy in broad daylight. In Kenwood, Michigan on August 4th, 2014, Jamarian lured Michael Connor Verkerke to a neighborhood playground. Jamarian pulled out a kitchen knife and stabbed Connor repeatedly in the back, even as the boy tried to run away. Connor collapsed on the front porch. His mother tried desperately to save him, but the wounds were too severe.
I didn't go out right away. Jared went out ahead of me and said that he needed something to stop the bleeding, so I grabbed a pair of swimming shorts because it was the first thing that I saw. And I brought them to Jared, and then Connor was laying there. And there was blood everywhere, and his eyes were bloodshot, and there was blood coming out of his mouth like a river. And it was all over my husband and all over my porch. And his breathing was really shallow. And Jared was applying pressure, and I tried to help apply pressure, but it wasn't really doing much good.
Connor died hours later in the hospital. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. Jamarian didn't run. Instead, he walked to a nearby house, used the phone, and called 911 on himself.
Kent County 911, where's your emergency?
I have an address.
Hello, do you have an emergency?
5657. Can I have a police officer at 5657 Madison?
So it's 5657?
Yes.
Okay. And what's happening there?
I just stabbed someone.
You did?
Yes.
Who was it that you just stabbed?
I don't know. I'm fed up with life.
You what?
I'm fed up with life.
Okay, did you stab yourself?
No. Well, I did take a whole bunch of pills to kill myself.
Okay, what's your name?
Jamarian Lawhorn.
What is your first name?
Get me and lock me up forever. For life.
Okay, did you...
out. Take me to Jupiter. I don't want to be on this earth anymore. Kill me.
Okay, that person you stabbed, are they there with you?
No.
Where are they?
I don't know. He ran.
He ran off?
Could you hurry up and come and get me?
Yeah, we're on the way, but I'm going to ask you some more questions. Can you spell your first name? I didn't understand it.
Jamarion.
Okay, and your last name?
Lawhorn. Lawhorn.
Okay, and you don't know who this person was that just came up by you?
Nope.
Okay, and do you still have the knife?
No.
Okay, what did you stab them with?
A knife.
Okay, where is that?
In the grass.
Okay, so it's out in the grass?
Mhm.
And the person you stabbed was a male, right?
Hurry up.
Hurry up, why? What are you doing?
The person just came. They're gonna try to beat me. They're gonna try to beat me, so hurry up and come kill me or take me to jail, do something, and ask me how you do on movies. Give me an electric tray. I don't care how I die. Just in the way.
Okay. All right. Who's there with you? Who did you ask the address of?
Some man. Come kill me.
Who did you ask the address to? Who was that guy?
Excuse me? Can I get your name? Quinn.
Quinn?
Yep.
Okay. Is he there with you? Did he see who you stabbed? What's going on? I don't understand what's going on.
They found the knife too. They found the knife.
Did he get stabbed? Did you stab him?
They're gonna come and kill me. Yes, I did it. Cause I'm fed up with life.
When investigators dug into his past, the truth unraveled. Jamarian was a child abuse survivor who had been beaten, electrocuted, and forced to eat hot sauce as punishment.
I am also the judge who was in the Lawhorn neglect case, and I have extensive knowledge of the family from which Jamarian comes. He has been raised in a home with a lengthy history of neglect and physical abuse. His mother had her parental rights terminated over 2 previous children a number of years ago for physical abuse. Child Protective Services were involved with the family in August and September of 2005 and as recently as May and June of 2013. In 2013, Ms. Lawhorn and her longtime partner, Bernard Harold, were substantiated for physical abuse of Jamarian. He was beaten with an extension cord so brutally as to leave permanent scarring on his legs. Then he was moved to his father's home in New York, where he was beaten by his alcoholic paternal grandmother before being returned to Grand Rapids and his mother and Mr. Harold's home.
Expert psychological evaluations later revealed severe emotional trauma.
His mother, extension cord by his stepdad, and then grandmother apparently hit him with a sandal. All of that history and his physical examination led to a diagnosis of probable inflicted trauma and pediatric physical abuse.
Despite that, Jamarian was charged with first-degree murder, even as his defense attorneys argued mental illness and child abuse. The court found him responsible for murder and sentenced him to juvenile detention.
It is the court's decision to impose a blended sentence in this case. That is a disposition that delays the imposition of a prison of sentence under MCL 712.8.18(1)M. The court places Jamarian on probation under MCL 712.8.18 sub 1 sub B with appropriate conditions. Those conditions include being committed to the Muskegon River Youth Home under MCL 712.8.18(1) sub D. The court reserves and delays the imposition of a prison sentence unless and until a request is made to impose a sentence of imprisonment.
But perhaps the most gut-wrenching moments came from the victim's family. Connor's father said in court,
I'm a shell of the man I was on August 3rd, 2014. That is the last full day where my family was whole. That was my 7th wedding anniversary, and we went on this family swimming trip. And now every day I relive the horror of the next day, August 4th. There are no words to explain holding my dying son in my arms. No way to count the trauma of his brothers watching him die. These are the last living memories I have of my son. These scenes replay in my head and make the horror movie seem like a docile by comparison. I say this all not to gain sympathy, but to begin to paint an explanation for what this has done to us. I love my son, and not a second goes by, sleeping or awake, that I do not miss him and agonize for what happened to him.
Connor's little brother, who witnessed the attack, also testified.
Jamarian just started stabbing him.
Was Connor bleeding?
Yes.
Where was he bleeding from?
Then they showed it coming from the back.
The media painted Jamarian as both a killer and a victim, but Jamarian had this to say.
I never, what I did was wrong. I didn't do nothing, but all I did. I made a terrible mistake. I just want you to know that. I'm sorry that I was saying you might be going through. When I get older, I'm going to take my commitment I got made and help them become a better person in life. So they will not have to suffer the abuse that you suffer.
Since his conviction, Jamarian has undergone extensive therapy, academic training, and rehabilitation.
It's found in Michigan Court Rule 3.955A. That particular court rule lists a number of factors, 6 to be specific, for the court to consider in fashioning what an appropriate disposition or sentencing would be in this case. I'll spare everyone the reading of each factor because we're going to be talking about them in depth and it's all set forth in the court rule.
By 2021, he was released from juvenile detention at age 19.
I did not believe that I have this much support after, what I'd done. I was expecting for the world to give up on me.
Motivated to make a change, Jamarian would be released 2 years early on March 1st, 2021, just 2 weeks shy of turning 19.
A 12-year-old boy killed another child. But how does that one compare to a 14-year-old shooting up a school, like in the case of Colt Gray?
He entered that classroom and proceeded to fire the rifle into that classroom.
This is Colt Gray, the 14-year-old freshman charged with 4 counts of felony murder in the September 4th, 2024 shooting at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia. At approximately 10 a.m., Gray exited his algebra classroom, retrieved a semi-automatic AR-15 style rifle from his backpack, and opened fire in the school's J Hall.
We're heartbroken. A young person brought a gun into a school, committed an evil act, and he took lives, and he injured many other people, not only physically but mentally.
The attack led to the deaths of 2 students, Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angulo, both 14, and 2 teachers, Richard Aspinwall and Christina Urimi. 9 others were injured.
At approximately 10:22 a.m. And 29 seconds, the video depicted Colt shouldering the rifle, aiming it, and discharging several rounds, and those rounds impacted teacher Christina Urimi.
Was she struck?
Yes, sir, she was.
And did she die from her injuries?
Yes, sir, she did. He observed Coach Aspinwall and Coach Phoenix, and video depicted him discharging multiple rounds towards the coaches.
Were they struck?
Yes, sir, they were both struck.
And then Coach Aspinwall, was he killed by his injuries?
Yes, sir, he was.
And was Coach Phoenix killed?
Coach Phoenix was not killed. He was severely wounded.
Prior to the shooting, Colt sent text messages to his parents expressing remorse. At 9:42 a.m., he messaged his father.
I'm sorry, it's not your fault. You're not to blame for any of it.
And at 10:02 a.m., he texted his mother.
I'm sorry.
The counselor said, well, I want to let you know that earlier this morning, one of Colt's teachers had sent me an email that said Colt had been making references to school shootings.
Gray's mother, Marcy Gray, had allegedly informed the school earlier that morning to warn of an extreme emergency concerning her son.
My gut feelings, the text messages, and now this email, y'all need to go, run to the classroom.
Colt Gray was arrested at the scene and is being tried as an adult. He faces 55 charges, including 4 counts of felony murder, aggravated assault, and cruelty to children. If convicted, he could face life imprisonment.
In essence, you are charged with 4 counts of felony murder, as outlined in the state warrants that have been issued against you. I want to make you aware that the maximum penalty for felony murder, so for each count, the maximum penalty is that you could be punishable by death, by imprisonment for life, without parole, or by imprisonment for life, with the possibility of parole.
His father, Colin Gray, was also arrested and is facing charges.
Currently charged with 2 counts of felony murder in the 2nd degree. You're charged with 4 counts of felony involuntary manslaughter. You're charged with 8 counts of felony cruelty to children in the 2nd degree.
A year before the shooting, police had questioned Colt and his father about a threat he made online to shoot up a school.
So we got a tip from the FBI saying that somebody from your old address over there in Traditions had made a threat to shoot up a school.
For real?
Yes, sir. And your name was associated with that address. So we went over to that address, and you weren't living there, so now we live here.
Said something about shooting up a school.
Did you say something about school shooting?
Never. I just told them, I don't know what. Maybe they misheard somebody else. I would never say I was threatening.
You never ever said.
No, I swear.
I don't know. I don't know anything about him saying shit like that, and I'm gonna be mad as hell if he did. and then all the guns will go away, and they won't be accessible to him.
Authorities said he gifted the firearm to his son despite knowing about his behavioral issues.
His charges are directly connected with the actions of his son and allowing him to possess a weapon.
The first ever deer hunt for me and Colt, he's hunting with a 450 Bushmaster.
Yes, sir.
107 yards, and let's go take a look. I'll follow you, sir.
During court proceedings, it was revealed that Colt had expressed fascination with previous school shootings and had joked about them.
There's approximately 15 pictures. They were mounted with thumbtacks to the wall directly behind his computer desk. The pictures show newspaper article clippings labeled with the toll of students that had died during the Parkland shooting, articles from Los Angeles Times and the New York Times showing the firearms that were located during that shooting incident, as well as students mourning the loss of their friends. There's also pictures of Nicholas Cruz from his court appearances, as well as other pictures of Nicholas Cruz leading up to the incident, him holding a firearm, an attack vest, and other school photos that were in his yearbook.
Colt Gray pled not guilty to the charges against him and is set to go to trial. If found guilty, he could be put behind bars for the rest of his life. Colt Gray's victims, though, were his classmates and teachers. But how twisted does it get when a teenager targets his own grandmother? Like in the case of Sophia Koval, a teenager who brutally beat her 79-year-old grandmother, Yevgenia Koval, to death inside their shared home in Lauderdale Lakes, Florida.
To handle the murder of my mother, by my daughter. It's a terrible, unexpected event. Broke our soul, our feeling.
On May 23, 2024, Sophia was left alone with her grandmother after her father took away her phone as punishment. Hours later, he returned to find his mother unresponsive on the floor, covered in bruises.
Cell phone video shows the police response outside the condo complex around 12:30 a.m. on May 23rd.
Paramedics rushed Yevgenia to Broward Health Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead. Sophia was arrested and charged with second-degree murder.
And did you find probable cause for second-degree murder?
Yes, sir.
During interrogation, she admitted to striking her grandmother multiple times with a belt and claimed she helped her die because the victim was already dying. The case shocks the community. Neighbors describe Sophia as a good girl and were stunned by this incident.
She was jumping up and down. She said, I just wish my mom was here. Just wish my mom was here. I guess she doesn't have papers to get here right now. She's a good kid. She's a wonderful kid. It's something out of character. She's been going through a lot because she wants her mom. She wanted her mom who's in the UK. She can't get over here.
Now she's going to be incarcerated. Where is her future? You know, and what has she done? And what was the reason that caused all of that to happen?
Sophia is charged as an adult, but later pled no contest to manslaughter.
You are charged with one count of manslaughter. It is a second-degree felony. It is punishable by up to 15 years Florida State Prison. Do you understand that?
That's sir. Yes, sir.
I ask because I have a plea form here written in English. I've got your initials on all the numbered paragraphs on page 1, all the numbered paragraphs on page 2. And I've got a signature where it says defendant signature. Did you put those there?
That's sir. Yes, sir.
She's given up to 3 years in a max risk juvenile program, followed by supervision until age 21.
By agreement of the parties on case number 24-010822 CFA to the charge of manslaughter. By agreement, I'm going to impose juvenile sanctions. I'm going to adjudicate Koval delinquent and going to commit her to a maximum risk program for a period of time not to exceed 36 months. By agreement of the parties, she will follow that program upon Department of Juvenile Justice satisfaction. She's completed that program. They will release her to a conditional release program.
This tragic case highlights the complexities of juvenile crime, mental health, and the impact of trauma on young individuals. Sophia Koval's violence was driven by anger and punishment. But now how far would someone go for millions of dollars? This is Denali Bremer, convicted of orchestrating the cold-blooded murder of her best friend, Cynthia Hoffman, in Anchorage, Alaska.
A teenager in Anchorage, Alaska has been charged with killing her best friend. Police say the murder plot began online with a promise of a multi-million-dollar payday.
On June 2nd, 2019, Bremer lured Cynthia Hoffman on a hike to Thunderbird Falls. Cynthia thought she was spending the day with friends. What she didn't know was that she'd been targeted for execution.
Miss Bremer spent time with Cynthia Hoffman. She knew what she was like. She was aware that Cynthia Hoffman had some mental challenges. And she chose to take Cynthia Hoffman's life for her own personal pleasure and for her own personal benefit.
There, 16-year-old Kaden McIntosh bound Cynthia with duct tape, forced her to her knees near the Aklentna River, and shot her in the back of the head with a 9mm handgun. Afterward, they shoved the body into the river like it's nothing.
He was very matter-of-fact about the whole thing, almost glib. When he told me about shooting Cynthia in the head and kicking her body into the water, he laughed. And I will never in my life forget that.
The mastermind, Denali Bremer, then just 18 years old, had been catfished online by a man named Darren Schillmiller, who posed as a millionaire named Tyler. He promised her $9 million if she filmed the murder, and she took the deal.
He convinced her that he was a 20-year-old, good-looking young man that had won the lottery, had millions of dollars, and he used that money to dangle in front of her and get her to do whatever he wanted.
Bremer not only agreed, she recruited others. She brings in McIntosh to pull the trigger and Caleb Leland to drive the getaway car. She even planned other murders.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to do it.
But just 2 days later, the entire plot started to unravel. Cynthia's parents reported her missing. When police interviewed Bremer, she cracked under pressure. Soon, all 5 teens involved are arrested, and the digital trail was found.
Accused of the unthinkable, 18-year-old Denali Bremer, 16-year-old Kaden McIntosh, and 19-year-old Caleb Leland appear in state court for their alleged roles in the murder of 19-year-old Cynthia Hoffman.
Investigators say it all began with a bizarre online catfishing scheme hatched by 21-year-old Darren Schillmiller, thousands of miles away in Indiana. Police say Bremer offered to pay some of the money to 4 other teens to help her plan and carry out the killing.
Bremer later admitted to planning Cynthia's murder, even sending videos of the crime to Schillmiller in Indiana. She was charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and tampering with evidence.
The court should find that Miss Bremer engaged in one of the most serious crimes that we have in Alaska. She executed Cynthia Hoffman in a murder-for-hire plot. She conspired with numerous other individuals in and outside of Alaska, including juveniles, forever altering everybody's life. She may not have pulled the trigger, but this never would have happened if it weren't for Denali Bremer.
At her sentencing, Cynthia's father, Timothy Hoffman, said,
"I love you, Cynthia Rose Hoffman. And when you're looking at your daughter's picture that's above your chair, you're so angry inside because you couldn't do nothing about it. I couldn't go after nobody. I couldn't defend her in any way."
And Denali Bremer barely blinked. There was no visible remorse.
In court, 18-year-old Denali Bremer showed no emotion as she appeared to admit her role in an elaborate plot to murder her friend Cynthia Hoffman.
Eventually, Bremer was handed a max sentence of 99 years in prison. Tyler, the fake millionaire, real name Darren Schillmiller, also gets to serve 99 years in prison for his criminal actions that led to the murder. Cynthia's funeral was held on June 13, 2019 at Faith Community Church in Anchorage.
To hear him knocking at the door.
What she would have felt that day. And right now I just feel Anger, sadness.
We happened to be born on the exact same day. So we shared a lot of birthdays, a lot of great birthdays together. Not a year is gonna pass where my birthday cake isn't gonna have Cynthia's name on it.
For all we can do is keep it in our hearts and memories and think of all the good times we've had with her.
I'm glad we found everybody that was involved. So now she can rest in peace. I love you, Cynthia.
This wasn't just a senseless killing. It was a murder-for-hire plot fueled by online fantasy planned by a teenager for money that never even existed. Denali Bremer didn't just lose her future. She traded it for a lie.
The hurt I caused you and your family, I can never rectify in any way. I understand it hurts. You lost a precious child, and the community lost a daughter as well. I am truly sorry for my role in your loss.
While killing your best friend for some imaginary money sounds like the craziest murder story ever, what happens when a boy murders his baby brother? Like in the case of Christian Fernandez, the youngest person in Jacksonville, Florida, to be charged as an adult for murder.
What did you do? Tell me what you did. What did you do? Stop. Tell me what happened. What the show? Didn't you think that was gonna hurt? Why would you do something like that?
On March 14th, 2011, 12-year-old Christian was left home alone with his 2-year-old half-brother, David Galarraga. According to police reports, Christian became angry and pushed David into a bookshelf, causing severe head injuries.
Are you angry about something?
Yes.
What were you angry about?
Oh, my stepdad did it to me.
David was left unconscious for several hours. When their mother, Bianella Susanna, came home, she met David bleeding from the nose and unconscious, but didn't call 911 right away.
So how long were you guys at home before you left to go to the hospital?
About 40 minutes.
40 minutes?
She claimed she was scared that child care services will take her kids away.
I didn't away because after my husband passed away, like they assigned me to a caseworker, and the caseworker comes and monitors everything, right? And I'm like, okay, I already have a caseworker. If they think that I'm doing something bad to one, I have 3 other ones that depend on me, and I don't want them taken away from me.
While her son's life hangs by a thread, Bianella took her time to browse the internet.
I just don't understand. I understand you have a problem with DCF, you thinking that they're going to take your kids away, but I don't understand why you didn't call 911. Safety's first.
I know safety first, but like I read online that unconsciousness happens when your brain shifts from position from a head injury.
Although she later sought medical help, David died from his injuries 2 days later. During police interrogation, Christian initially claimed David fell from a bunk bed.
Okay. And what happened tonight? Because I know originally you said that he fell off the bunk bed, but that wasn't true, correct? Okay, so that was a lie? Okay, so tell me what really happened tonight.
However, he later admitted to pushing David into the bookshelf.
What happened to the side of his head?
I pushed him against a bookshelf.
Okay. How many times did you push him into the shelf?
Twice.
You pushed him pretty hard. What do you think? Did you push him pretty hard?
Nothing.
Why'd you push him? Are you angry about something?
Yes.
What were you angry about?
Oh, my stepdad did it to me.
Oh, what your stepdad did to you? Is that what you said? Why were you angry about that tonight?
Because I was thinking about it.
Christian also confessed to previously breaking David's leg in January of 2011.
So what exactly happened that day in January?
That I put his legs to and back of his butt.
Okay, like how? Can you show me? I mean, you probably can't. Flexible, but how did you do his legs?
Like this.
What And then what else did you do with his little legs?
And like this, and that's all.
You pushed him back?
Mm-hmm.
Prosecutors charged Christian with first-degree murder, intending to try him as an adult.
Michelle pleaded not guilty as to Mr. Fernandez's case.
This decision sparked national debate over juvenile justice and the appropriateness of adult charges for minors.
And to the state of Florida, you can throw this 12-year-old child in jail, treat him as an adult, and throw away the key if you want to. Out of sight will not be out of mind. Until you correct your broken social service system, these cases will continue to emerge.
In 2013, Christian accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to manslaughter and aggravated battery. He's sentenced to juvenile detention until his 19th birthday.
Okay, we have Mr. Fernandez here for arraignment.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Your Honor. Rob Mason, Office of the Public Defender.
Deborah Ballard, Office of the Public Defender. Good morning, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm in receipt of a 2-count indictment for case number 2011-6222. At this time, I would stand to the indictment.
However, Bianella was sentenced to 10 years probation and eventually lost custody of all her kids.
This case involved Ms. Susanna's negligence in both allowing that injury to occur by her lack of appropriate supervision of her children, her statements and misstatements to the Department of Children and Families in January of 2011 when she lied to authorities about how David Golliver's leg was broken, but then also her failure to act in an appropriate manner once she was made aware of the injury inflicted upon David Golliver.
Christian Fernandez's story is a reminder of how the frustration from bad parenting and child abuse can move children to commit crimes.
What were you angry about?
What my stepdad did to me.
Oh, what your stepdad did to you? Is that what you said? Why were you angry about that tonight?
Because I was thinking about it.
Bad parenting led Christian to commit murder. But now what happens when a teenager assaults and murders his own teacher?
The jury found to a moral certainty that the defendant killed Colleen Ritzer and that he was criminally responsible for her murder. No amount of prison time would ever be enough to be commensurate with this crime, and no math will ever erase the reality that this crime was committed by a 14-year-old boy.
This is Philip Chisum, convicted for the rape and murder of his teacher, Colleen Ritzer, in Danvers, Massachusetts.
Our second story out front, breaking news in the case of the teen accused of killing his teacher with a box cutter. A Massachusetts grand jury has just indicted 14-year-old Philip Chisum of murder, aggravated rape, and armed robbery.
On October 22, 2013, Chisum, then 14, followed 24-year-old math teacher Colleen Ritzer into a school's bathroom where he would brutally attack her.
While Colleen's mother waited for her loving daughter, the defendant violently raped Colleen Ritzer. He viciously, brutally, and senselessly attacked Colleen in the girls' bathroom, just feet from the classroom, where she was in her second year of living her dream of being a teacher.
After the attack, Chisum moved her body to a wooded area behind the school.
When the defendant was finished in the bathroom, he put Colleen Ritzer inside a recycle bin, wheeled her to the woods, and pulled up her shirt, exposing her breasts. Thereafter, he spread her legs and inserted a large tree branch inside her. Colleen Ritzer was found dead hours later, after a frantic search by law enforcement.
Surveillance footage from Danvers High School captured Chisum's movements that day. The footage showed Chisum following Ritzer into the bathroom, wearing gloves and a hooded sweatshirt.
So what does the video tell us? It tells us that on the morning of October 22nd, 2013, Philip Chisum arrived at Danvers High School that morning with everything he needed to do what he wanted to do.
During trial, Chisum's defense argued that he was experiencing a psychotic episode at the time of the murder.
One was a depressive state, best described in my view as a major depressive state, and another was a brief or transient psychotic episode.
However, the prosecution argued that his diagnosis at the time of the trial has nothing to do with his mental state at the time he killed Colleen Ritzer.
Going to your friend's house because your family is chaotic is not coping with a mental illness. It's a survival skill by a teenager growing up in less than ideal circumstances. Putting your earbuds in is not coping with mental illness, or apparently most of Danvers High is suffering from mental illness because they're all allowed to wear one earbud.
The judge also contended that Chisum's actions were premeditated and deliberate.
The defendant was quiet, polite, athletic, and had no prior criminal record. Then, on October 22nd, 2013, he carefully and deliberately prepared to kill his math teacher.
In a separate incident in 2014, Chisum attacked a female staff member at a youth detention center, further proving himself a violent animal.
It's uncovering new details in a chilling attack, allegedly at the hands of a teenager already charged with killing his high school teacher.
Chisum pled guilty to charges related to the detention center attack and was sentenced to additional time, to be served concurrently with his existing sentence.
25-year-old Philip Chisum pleaded guilty today in Suffolk Juvenile Court to attempted murder and kidnapping charges. He was 15 when he was charged with attacking and seriously injuring a female DYS worker back in 2014. The incident actually happened while he was in custody, awaiting trial for raping and killing his Danvers High School math teacher when he was 14. A judge sentenced Chisum to 17 to 20 years in state prison for the attack on the youth worker. He'll serve that at the same time he's serving his murder sentence, which runs at least 30 years.
During sentencing, her family delivers emotional victim impact statements, expressing their grief and the profound loss they experienced.
But I found it impossible to summarize all the ways Colleen's horrific death has affected my entire family, and how one person has changed so many lives forever.
Chisum, by the way, showed little emotion during the proceedings. His actions in the murder of Colleen Ritzer and the detention center attack demonstrate a pattern of violent behavior.
Because only one man was in that bathroom with Colleen Ritzer, and only one man carried her pants out, and only one man would sexually violate her in the woods, and only one man is caught with his pants down. So Philip Chisum raped Colleen Ritzer in the bathroom.
After 2 days of trial, the jury found Chisum guilty of murder in the first degree.
You, upon your oaths, do say that the defendant, Philip Chisum, is guilty of deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity cruelty on indictment number 2013-1446, charging him with murder in the first degree. So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
So say you, all members of the jury?
Yes.
The judge, David Lowy, would hand him 25 to life for murder in the first degree.
The jury, having returned a verdict of guilty of murder in the first degree on deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity and cruelty, you will hearken to the sentence the court has awarded against you. The court, having duly considered your offenses, it is hereby ordered that you be committed to the Department of Youth Services until the age of 21, and furthermore committed to the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for the period of not less than 25 years and not more than life.
For armed robbery and aggravated rape, he got a sentence each of 40 years.
On the charge of aggravated rape, you will hearken to the sentence the court has awarded against you. The court, having duly considered your offenses, it is hereby ordered that you be committed to the Department of Youth Services until the age of 21, and furthermore committed to the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for the period of not less than 40 years and not more than 40 years and 1 day.
Chisum is to serve the sentences concurrently, and he will not get parole until after 40 years.
While this court is constitutionally required to consider that, there is always the possibility of redemption.